If I had to replace my entire collection, I would start off with these 10. Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. As you can see, I own a few fragrances. It actually wraps around this entire room off camera. And then I have even more over there. I don't want to think about how much it costs right now, but if for some reason everything went away, first off, I guess I'd be getting in touch with my insurance, and then they would probably tell me to get bent. But then I would start repurchasing, beginning with perhaps this little beauty. Pure Excess by Paco Rabanne. Now I know this is not like the hyper popular Paco Rabanne. It's not an Invictus, it's not a 1 million, and it's almost forgotten for the most part. And the only flanker that came out after it, Pure Excess Night, completely impossible to find. So we're starting off strong. We're starting off with a huge hit here. But I swear to you, this stuff is fantastic for fall and winter, both daytime or evening, and it was a little bit ahead of its time. Not that it's super old, it came out in 2017, but it has similarities to another Paco Rabanne that was much more popular that came out later down the road, Invictus Victory. I still love the way this smells, very carbonated off the top, fizzy almost. It actually has a full note breakdown, unlike fragrances that come out nowadays. So this one has ginger in there off the top, along with grapefruit, bergamot, vanilla, boozy notes, cinnamon, leather, myrrh, sugar, and more. Performance is pretty good. Price nowadays, not too bad. Used to be a little cheaper. Nowadays it's about 40 to 60 typically at discounters. But yeah, I still love Pure Excess, and I would immediately repurchase a bottle. And actually, I didn't tell you guys this, but the theme, yes, the first fragrances I would repurchase, but I wanted a lot of these to be not quite as obvious of a choice as just saying something like Sauvage Elixir. I would buy that one. But to be fair, I would buy that one too, yeah. The next one is from Versace. It is an Eros release, and it is Eros Energy. Now, I know that for some people, Eros Energy is not their cup of tea, and that's because it does have an overload, like a legitimate overload of citrus. And I and my wife are massive fans of citrus and fragrances. But when I say overload, I do mean it. Take a look at the note breakdown. Essentially, every single type of citrus they could think of, they were like, yeah, put that in there. Do it more. It reminds me of like Kylo Ren in Star Wars. In my head canon, I'm like 99% sure that's how it went down. So citrus, do you like it? Okay, good. Do you really like it? Like really? Okay, good, then you can wear this. It has a little bit of rindiness off the top, not too much, just a little bit. It's a nice balance. It also could remind you a bit of Aventus cologne when you first spray this on. Not close enough to be a replacement for it, but it is one of those deals where if you like how that one opens up, you'll probably enjoy this one too, because it's kind of in a similar style. This one has become one of my summertime go-to fragrances, and watching the price kind of matriculate downwards at discounters puts me in a good mood. Not that it probably puts Versace in a good mood, but hey, can't win them all. And speaking of matriculating prices, if you would like them to matriculate even further downwards, I have a way you can do that. Codes. Or coupons, whatever you want to say, coupon codes. Put it together. The JOMASHOP ones have updated, and they only work within the JOMASHOP app, so make sure you've got those new codes. And that update for Gift Express still holds. Gents 15 will get you 15% off your order at Gift Express, as long as the order is worth over $250. If it is under $250, it will be a 10% off discount. That's magic, I guess. I don't know. You hit that magic threshold. Oh, here's 5% more off. But that's how it is right now, so beware of that. And then all the other codes are as they have been. So the perfume box, Max Aroma, Twisted Lily, and others. Use those codes, save yourself some money. Now this next one is a fragrance that on its face you would look at and say, that's not too exciting. Why would you go with that one? I'll explain. It is L'Homme Le Parfum by Yves Saint Laurent. It is a little bit overlooked. A lot of people don't gravitate towards the L'Homme line as much nowadays, which is also reflected in YSL not doing much with the L'Homme line, which I hope they do. It deserves to have new flankers as long as they're well done in the L'Homme and La Nuit de L'Homme line. But lately, With YSL, it's been myself, and it has been Y. That's really what they've been concentrating on. But this little guy right here, it is kind of similar to taking Y and mixing it with Loam. So if you take the YSL Loam DNA, which of course works extremely well, big compliment pulling fragrance line and fragrance in general, talking about the original, and you mix that with the kind of fresh, sweet combination of Y Eau de Parfum, that kind of style, you get this. So yes, very sweet, but also fresh, a little aromatic as well. Super easy to wear, all year fragrance, daytime, nighttime, doesn't matter. And while the DNA could smell familiar to you because of those similarities to the other fragrances I mentioned, this one itself does not get as much play, does not get worn as much, but works just as well. Next one is a newer release, like really, really new, like I got this in last week, basically new. It is Fierte Luna. It is a bit top heavy. The cap is really dense, and also came loose in shipping and was like bouncing all over the inside of the box, but everything arrived okay, so it's fine. No harm, no foul, I guess. But this really is one of the heavier caps out there for what that's worth. And it's got a woof on it. I think it's a woof. Yeah, it's gotta be a woof. You get like 2 of these, have yourself a little Romulus and Remus action, reenact founding Rome. Obviously, this is a clone. It's from French Avenue, which is of course Fragrance World, and it is a clone of Naxos by Xerjoff, which is one of my favorite Xerjoff fragrances. That's, to be fair, most people will be like, oh yeah, that's one of my favorites too. So not really like going out on a limb there, you know? It's like saying, what's your favorite song by Chad Kroeger? Everybody knows. It's Hero. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just playing. My favorite song by Chad Kroeger is just the meme where he says, look at this graph. Look at this graph! So this does a darn good job of emulating Naxos, actually surprisingly really high quality. It does capture that aromatic feel that Naxos has, so it does not go full bore like honeyed tobacco. You're gonna get those other aspects that Naxos has. For some people, that's a positive. Some people are gonna be like, okay, sweet, I like that. Other people are gonna be like, nah, I prefer more of the honey, like, you know, lean more that direction. But this one kind of splits the diff and gives you both. I wanna go next with one of my go-to cheapies. Now, this is one of the inexpensive fragrances that I constantly have talked about, and it's because at the price point, at discounters, we're talking 30 bucks or less. I think it's one of the better summertime fragrances out there, just in terms of like the quality, the presentation for a dirt cheap Walmart clearance bin price point. It is Artisan Pure. So like I said, presentation, I feel like really slick. You've got the bottle with this kind of like matte, icy glass finish. And then you have the basket weave over top. You've got this like little wooden cap. It looks good. The price point, as I mentioned, like 30 bucks, a lot of times less at discounters, which I took advantage of a long time ago. I've got multiple bottles of this stuff. I will never run out. Really fresh and clean, citrusy, green. You have a bunch of different types of citrus in here, just like Eros Energy, but instead of how that one comes across, Eros Energy, much more in your face, this one is smoother, classier overall. It has a nice petitgrain ginger combo in the mid, along with all those citruses. Then once you hit the dry down, you've got woody notes and musk, essentially. And it's vaguely in the style of like Neroli Portofino from Tom Ford. So if you like that one, you'll probably enjoy this one. Now this is one that is a lock for me. It's one I have talked about a lot. It's Luna Rossa Black. And this is the newer bottle style, but honestly, it's close enough to the very first original bottling that it doesn't matter. Little differences, but not a big enough deal to get worked up over. It still smells awesome, doesn't matter. So it's got a nice sweetness to it, a little bit dark. It's very slightly rubbery, but not too much. Also smells vaguely similar to Bulgari Black, Midnight in Paris, both of which are discontinued, both of which are way more expensive than this one nowadays. Good amount of Tonka in here. You gotta like Tonka because there's a boatload. It also has a vanilla kind of sweetness mixing together with that Tonka. A little bit of like a dusty aspect also, just great stuff. To me, this is one of the better smelling, unique designer fragrances out there for fall and winter time. That's gonna give you some warmth, gonna give you some sweetness, but it's not gonna go overboard. You know, it's not gonna go into that stronger with you kind of style, which nothing against that. I love those fragrances, but you know, it's not gonna go that way, which a lot of scents nowadays do. Another cologne fragrance, the last one in the list, this one is from Armaf, and it's Odyssey Mandarin Sky Elixir. Yeah. Over under on how many more Elixir fragrances come out this year. Say over under 3. You taking the over or the under? Or I guess it'd have to be 3.5, right? Yeah, because you can't just do 3, because then if it is 3, then everybody pushes 3.5, so under or above. So Mandarin Sky Elixir, this one is similar to Mandarin Sky, the original that came out, obviously. That one is Jean-Paul Gaultier's Scandal. So this one is a bit similar to that, but with kind of a twist. I say kind of a twist, with a twist. Essentially, you're gonna get that Scandal styling. So Scandal Le Parfum, kind of right in that wheelhouse, but with a little bit of like Invictus Victory Elixir mixed in. So I guess that's where the Elixir would come into play, right? Yeah, at least in my head, that's what makes sense. So extremely mass appealing, another one great for fall and wintertime, good performance, and one that as time goes on will likely get more and more affordable at discounters because Mandarin Sky, quite cheap. So this one, keep your eyes open for it. It's really well done. You know what else is well done? This Narciso Rodriguez Blue Noir Parfum. So we're getting back into my iris wheelhouse here. One of my favorite notes, one of my favorite accords, and the way it's used in here, fantastic. So this is gonna be one that's a little bit in that style of like Gentleman Eau de Parfum, Dior Homme, the original, Valentino Uomo Intense, stuff like that. Along with that iris, you've got suede in here, you have tonka, you have musk, you have cardamom off the top, a little touch of citrus and cypress. Of the fragrances that I mentioned that this smells a bit similar to, the one it's probably closest to is Valentino Uomo Intense. And that's gonna be down to how the sweetness comes across in here, along with the bit of leather that it has. Pretty good longevity, sticks around for a while, which you would expect from a Parfum projection. A little more moderate, but still gets the job done. It is a touch powdery, so be aware of that. And if you do not enjoy that more creamy style of iris, it may not be for you, but for me, I think it smells really good. So does this. Le Beau Le Parfum, this right here. Yeah, if you are after compliments, one of the best things you can get. It's a little bit overpowered when it comes to that, which is also why it has been kind of beaten into the ground. So if you're looking for something that is flying under the radar, that's not this. Now I will say that Le Beau Le Parfum for me, a little bit too strong for like middle of summer. So today, it was 94 degrees Fahrenheit, which is this in Celsius. And due to humidity, it was actually a little bit hotter, or it felt like it was hotter. It felt like 96 Fahrenheit, which is this. So yeah, depending on where you find yourself in the world, you may look at that temperature and go, that's nothing, dude. You're pathetic. Or you might look at that temperature and go, no. But what I can say is that on days like today, this one is a bit too much for me. It's pretty sweet, a little bit thick. Yeah, it's got like this thick, semi-creamy sweetness, tropical sweetness. I mean, it has fresh aspects too. It's not like just full bore, ultra heavy sweet, right? But on days like today, I do like things that are fresher. So like I would go this over this. During the evening, during fall, during winter, during spring, this stuff is amazing and you cannot go wrong with it. Like if you're after positive attention, if you're after people potentially stopping you and asking, what are you wearing? This is one of the better ones for that. And last but not least, I have a fragrance that is honestly possibly the fragrance that I have been contacted the most about from people on both sides. Some people telling me it is absolutely amazing, I love it. Other people telling me, it's not for me, man. I just don't really jive with it, it doesn't work for me. But it seems like there's no in between. It's either like you love this stuff and it's amazing and it blew your mind, or you got it in and you were like, I'm gonna wear that approximately never. Actually, I hate it. Thank you very much. It's this. It's the Brioni, the Eau de Parfum Intense version of Brioni. Now, I adore especially the opening of this one and the magnetic cap. The opening is fruity, it's sweet, it's a little bit syrupy, and it has an oud undertone to it. So that can be the part that a lot of people, it makes it or breaks it for them. Now, the oud that's in here, thankfully, is not like hyper animalic. You know, it's not really dirty, but it does have a different, you know, undertone to it compared to your more typical cedar, amberwood, ambroxan, stuff like that. And while obviously there's sweetness that helps offset that, you know, gives you this little juxtaposition against that oud, for some people it's not enough. So I told you before, it's got this like fruity, almost syrupy sweetness. That's apple and citrus off the top. There's also saffron as it works through the mid. And then you have some patchouli and vanilla as it dries down as well. Pretty good performance, not anything insane, but the longevity is good, sticks around for a long time. The projection a little bit more moderate, slightly above average, but still, fall and winter time, love this stuff, stands apart and quite unique. So there we go. If everything was gone, those are 10 of the first that I would buy that are maybe not the first ones that you would think of, because it would be very easy just to go, well, first ones I'd buy, well, I'd get Dior Homme Intense again, which is true, and Sauvage Elixir, which is true, and Invictus Victory Elixir, and Prada L'Homme Intense, and Valentino Uomo Intense, and Born in Roma Intense. There's a lot of intenses, but you get the drift. Of course, I would get those as well, but I wanted to highlight some fragrances that fly under the radar a little bit more. Some, of course, Le Beau Le Parfum does not. Let me know in the comments what fragrances you guys would repurchase if you had the unenviable task of repurchasing literally everything. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.